Welcome to HTSN. My name is Joe Rhodes. Today I'm joined by former Michigan State quarterback and Quarterback University team member, Joe Boisture. Joe, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Joe, you're an interesting guest. You have some local ties here for HTSN. You work with a local quarterback, but kind of get items, kind of give the folks out there a little bit of a quick synopsis of who you are and kind of your path to where you're at today and some of the stuff you're doing.
Yeah, so like you had said, my name's Joe Boisture. I work closely with the owner of Quarterback University, Donovan Dooley. A little background on me. In high school, I got to experience a lot of cool things. The Elite 11, the Army All-American game. I had the pleasure of going to Michigan State. Ran into some injury at Michigan State, ended up going to a Division II school, Saginaw Valley, and finished my career there. And currently, working with Quarterback University, we travel. We see a lot of different quarterbacks, whether it's via Zoom or in person with our camps. So it's just great to, truly travel the Midwest and all over the United States and get to know these guys and help them with their aspirations.
Yeah, and you mentioned a moment ago you attended Michigan State, and it's kind of rarefied air when you get to be a Division I quarterback. So talk about that whole experience, how it kind of came about, and just sort of the ins and outs of being a Division I quarterback in a Power 5 conference.
Right. So a little background, my junior year in high school, I was committed to Boston College, fell in love with them. They were my first offer, essentially. In the back of my mind, I always wanted to go to Michigan State. My grandfather coached there under Duffy Doherty, and then he went on to be the head coach at Eastern Michigan. So Michigan State, it was the in-state school. My family had gone there. They didn't come till late when they offered. So I eventually, when they did offer, I decommitted and decided to go there. Not a bad thing to say about the program or Coach D'Antonio. Coach Narduzzi was the defensive coordinator now at Pittsburgh, the head coach there in your area. Great guys. In the relationships and the experience that I had, football aside, it's stuff that I'll remember forever. So truly grateful for the green and white.
And that experience you just spoke of is such a great resource for these young quarterbacks that you're working with now. In your own opinion, in your own experience, how valuable is this information that you feel like you're able to pass down to these guys and provide that resource?
Right. Everybody's different. Everybody looks for different things with trainers when it comes to quarterbacks. Something that, I think I do a good job of bringing is the real life experience. I can't speak on that at the next level, but for the high school and the collegiate level, having those experiences, the ups and downs, and I promise you there'll be a lot of downs throughout your experience. I think I can relate to the kids and just tell them how it is. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. There's a lot of days that you're not going to feel like doing it, but at the end, it just makes you a better person. The experiences, the friendships that you have will last forever.
Talk a little bit about Quarterback University, the resources they provide overall, I don't know if you have a total number of participants that work with Quarterback University, but kind of share with the folks out there what Quarterback University is and some of the resources they provide.
Okay, so Quarterback University, we're mostly based out of Michigan. Donovan Dooley, I just had a Zoom call with him 2 nights ago, and he told me that this was his 10th year of doing it. He has really set the foundation and the work that, is carrying on 10 years later that I'm a part of now. We deal with kids from 7 years old all the way to some of the guys playing, in Power 5 conferences, and there's a slew of them. So we have a lot of resources, whether it's experiences, field work, Zoom work, coverages, really going that extra mile to get high schoolers prepared or get them used to what it's going to be like at the next level.
About how many quarterbacks do you feel like are under your tutelage right now?
Honestly, there's too many to count. Whether, we have kids, quarterbacks that are in Canada that do Zooms with us. We flew out to Arizona. We were in Pittsburgh. We're in Ohio. We're all over. So to put a true number on it is pretty difficult to do.
and you just kind of mentioned it there. You have a wide reach of quarterbacks, not just in the United States, but in Canada, as you said there. Um, it seems as though with that being the format, you guys have had to become familiar with meetings just like we have right now and teaching these kids over this platform. How much does that help you guys during this time, having some familiarity with teaching kids in this setting?
Right. So obviously, with everything that's going on in the world, the face-to-face is few and far between, unfortunately. So we really have done a good job doing exactly what we're doing, getting to know the families, getting to know the players. Coaches are involved, so it's really a group effort. And the closer you grow with the family that trusts in you with their child, it only helps down the road in the relationships that we've had. So Zoom has been huge for us, whether it's reviewing film, their film, going over coverages, etc. That's kind of the new day and age, and we can access so many more kids because you're sitting in your office and I'm sitting in my office and going about business. So we're doing the best we can.
Kind of coming off that topic there, in Pennsylvania, as of yesterday, they're going to shut sports down here interscholastically and some private leagues, youth leagues, for 3 weeks. So being a former athlete, you played basketball. We talked about that in the past. How difficult is this from your position for athletes that have to continuously be ramped back up and then shut down, ramp back up and shut back down? How difficult do you think that is for these athletes in your own experience?
It's difficult for me, and I'm not even playing, and I'm a little older and had my fun. But these kids have been put through the ringer. It's no fault of theirs, but it's just, it's controversy, it's heartache that they're going to have to go through, and hopefully, I know a lot of our kids are taking this time to really hone in on different skills because, especially in Michigan and Pennsylvania, working out outside isn't always an option. Right. And the indoors are shut down. So, focusing on the mental aspect of the game, footwork that you can do in a garage. And I see a lot of kids doing that. But my heart goes out to them and their families, just the unpredictability. They get their hopes up, it's shot down. So just having a resiliency of work ethic, we'll all get through it and we'll be better off because of it.
Yeah, and is there any message you're sending to these kids during this time? Because obviously here in Pennsylvania, you have a couple guys in this area, as you mentioned, the Pittsburgh region. Relaying to these guys through this time to kind of help keep their heads up, I guess.
Right. So when we're on our Zooms or shooting a text to the parents or the kids, just like I said, it's hard times. There's still hard times ahead, but just working through it, staying positive. Being a leader amongst your team, because the quarterback position, what we specifically work with, all eyes are always on them. So for them to relay that information to their teammates, to even their parents, they have to be that core figure to really keep everything together. And I've seen a lot of that out of our guys, and I'm proud of them.
You're not far out of your career, your collegiate career, but how much has the sport changed from the time that maybe you were getting recruited to now the time that you're dealing with these young quarterbacks and helping them get recruited? How much have things changed over that span?
I would say a lot. The high school and collegiate game and the NFL, it's constantly changing. Being able to adapt to it, no different than being in a game, and they change things up, adapting to it to become successful. But recruiting nowadays is 10 years ago, since 10, 11 years ago for me, it is way more social media blown up, a bigger deal nowadays. It's a good and a bad thing, but just the whole recruiting and the kids, if you're the number one quarterback in the country, you're a superstar, right? People know who you are, and it's tough for kids. They're thrown in the limelight at a young age. Based off their athletic ability. So it's a learning experience, but that's the biggest thing that I've seen. And then the second thing is, just the pure size of these athletes and how big and physical and athletic they are. It's amazing.
How has the quarterback position evolved in particular?
You got to be able to run nowadays. The true drop back quarterback, as much as I like it, that's not necessarily a reality. You still have some guys that can do it very well. But you look at the new age of the quarterback, you have to be able to move, whether it's to get back to the line of scrimmage or to, elude a defender to get the ball off. The days of just dropping back, throwing the football are over. So you're going to have to be able to do more to your game than just dropping back and throwing.
Do you feel like that style of quarterback play is here to stay? Because I hear a lot of criticism, and sometimes I'm one of those critics that running the ball too much at the quarterback position just leads to a shorter career. You look at some guys that have been mobile quarterbacks. We saw one a couple weeks ago with RG3 and the Ravens. So do you feel like that style of quarterback play is here to stay, or do you see the sport going back to more of a pocket style quarterback, a guy that can have a long career by kind of preserving his body?
Right. That's a good question. I think it just kind of depends on the scheme. You see certain schools and professional teams that they have a certain type of quarterback that fits their scheme. It seems like more schemes are going more of having an elusive quarterback, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But to have both is nice, to have a drop back quarterback to watch one night, and then a guy that can kind of run around, a Patrick Mahomes type of guy. It just makes the sport all that more interesting. So I guess we'll just wait and see what happens, and whatever it is, I'm sure it'll be effective.
Talk a little bit about too. You're a guy that's counted on to be sort of an outlet for these quarterbacks. Who might have been a similar kind of figure for you in helping progress your football career?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. You're obviously expected to be sort of a resource for these young quarterbacks and these young athletes. Who might have been someone for you in your football experience? Resource.
Honestly, the guy that sticks out to me the most, and he probably doesn't even remember, there's a guy, quarterback that played at Cincinnati. His name was Tony Pike. Played for Brian Kelly there. And when I went to Cincinnati, I fell in love with the guy. He is what I imagined being a college quarterback was like. We were built the same mannerisms. So during that visit, I remember I had to have been annoying him because I asked him so many questions, and he's the big time quarterback taking this high school kid around. But that's a moment I always remember. And reaching out to him and trying to learn as much as I could from him.
You also mentioned earlier that it seems like there's some football lineage in your family. Your grandfather, of course, coaching at Michigan State, and then also you said Eastern Michigan. How much did that play a role in your love of football? I'm sure that really helped facilitate, how things kind of evolved for your own football career.
Right. So my grandfather played at the University of Detroit back in the day when they had a football team. Then he went to Michigan. He coached in the Catholic League in Michigan high school, which was, back in those days was, a pretty big deal. Then went to Michigan State under Duffy, and then at Eastern. My dad played quarterback at Bowling Green in Ohio. So it was always in my family. I didn't realize, from a coaching aspect, how deep my grandfather actually was in it until I got older. I was still younger, but we've always been a green and white family, and football's king with us. So it was an easy upbringing, knowing where I fell in.
You kind of stole my thunder. My next question you just answered. It seems like you still work really hard for the Spartans on Saturdays. And on the other side of that, too, professionally, you mentioned to me in text that you're a Steeler fan. So explain your fanhood and how much you still make time to watch the Spartans. And then how did the fanhood of the Steelers come about?
Right. Well, Michigan State, my uncle, he played golf there. So I always remember watching the Michigan State game, always a big game. But that's not to say that I'm against Michigan, because I have to have an open opinion, and play fair. So, I just love college football, just because I know what it means to the kids and how hard the hours that people don't realize that they put in. In regards to the Steelers, a true Steelers fan may not respect this, but a woman did bring me into them. My fiance is a huge Steelers fan, and she kind of talked me into it. So we do usually go to a game or two, and every Saturday or every Sunday she's got her Steelers gear on, rooting them on. So it's been a fun year, but that's kind of how I kind of hopped on the Steelers.
So how long is this this bandwagon fanhood going on? It sounds like it's a little recent here.
It's been about 6 years. So I'm still growing. I understand I got to earn my keep with the terrible towel. So hopefully down the road it'll be acceptable.
Yeah, and kind of maybe a strange question, but the way the league is now, you mentioned a Patrick Mahomes, but you're also, of course, a Steeler fan, and you see a 38-year-old Ben Roethlisberger going out there and doing what he does. Talk about the league right now as it stands and these new age quarterbacks, whether it's Lamar Jackson or Mahomes, like you said, and some of these wily veterans, how they're able to still get it done in this league, whether it's Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, etc.
Right. So you kind of have the new era and the old era, right? The Roethlisbergers, the Bradys, the Brees. Those guys they've done it. They're established. They have 15 plus years in. Then you have the young guys, that are running around, making amazing plays on their feet. And it seems like a team's going to have to, ultimately decide what way they want to go. But watching the old timers, the Ben Roethlisbergers, and just seeing, because they can't rely on their athletic ability anymore. They used to, but their game changes, it morphs. And so to see the complete understanding that a Ben Roethlisberger or Drew Brees has of their offense, they know exactly what's going to happen, as best they can, and just really break down the game from a mental aspect because, athletically, they're a little bit older and that's all right. But they just beat you in different ways. And that, it intrigues me on how they're still able to do it based off of their preparation for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an interesting time in the NFL to see so many guys that are so important to football over the last decade.
Yeah.
Manning, of course, was a guy in that group. He retired a couple of years back. But it is interesting to see how much the position has evolved, but still how there are some of these old gunslingers out there like Big Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Still effective, of course.
11 and 1, 10 and 1?
11 and 1, yeah.
11 and 1, okay, yeah.
The one was kind of ugly, though, so we'll try not to think about that.
Yeah, we can forget about that.
A couple rapid-fire quarterback questions since you are a quarterback guru. Greatest college quarterback of all time?
I'd say Robert Griffin Jr. is up there for me.
All right. Wow.
Or Vince Young.
Vince Young's a good call, too.
He's up there.
Who's the greatest pro quarterback of all
time? Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. You're on that bandwagon, too. If you're coming to a Steeler game here anytime soon, don't be telling people that.
Oh, I know, but I'm keeping it fair. I'm keeping it real. So Tom Brady, he's done the most, I think, and he's still doing it. So
best arm of all time.
Oh man, maybe I'll have to come back to that. Pass on that one.
Yep. I'm gonna be the homer and say Dan Marino.
Okay. All right.
What number do you associate with quarterbacks the most?
I like 6. Six for me. 12. A lot of guys are 12s, but number 6 is always my go-to.
If you needed a quarterback to win you one game, who is it in their prime?
Tom Brady.
Sticking with the Brady answer, are we?
Sticking with Brady.
All right. Well, Joe, thanks so much for making the time.
Awesome.
We'll let you off on the strong arm quarterback question. We'll leave the folks having to guess what you picked there. So
awesome. Well, I appreciate it, Joe.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Best of luck. Keep us posted on what you're doing up there in Michigan. We'll certainly be watching and looking forward to watching these young guys get groomed by you and the rest of the folks up there.
Awesome. We appreciate it. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe.